Many of us have experienced the frustration of lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, with our minds racing through an endless stream of thoughts that refuse to let us rest. Whether it's the echoes of past regrets, the growing to-do lists, or the persistent worries about tomorrow, sleep seems just out of reach. No matter how tired we feel, our minds won't cooperate, keeping us awake and anxious. For older adults, this struggle often becomes more intense as the weight of life's experiences and concerns builds over time. The desire for rest is strong, but the mind's constant chatter makes it nearly impossible to relax. This cycle of sleepless nights can lead to exhaustion, affecting both physical and emotional well-being. The more we try to force sleep, the harder it becomes, creating a sense of helplessness. It's a common issue in today's world, where the pressures of daily life and the fear of an uncertain future often steal the peace that our bodies desperately need. Understanding why we struggle with sleep and how mindfulness and Buddhist-inspired practices can help can offer a much-needed path to true rest and healing. Chapter 1. Understanding why we struggle to sleep. The inability to sleep is a struggle that many people, especially older adults, face every night. Lying in bed, the mind refuses to quiet down, constantly racing through an endless stream of thoughts. These thoughts often revolve around things that have happened in the past, things that could happen in the future, or things that are happening right now. Our minds become trapped in a cycle of worries, regrets, and what-ifs, and instead of allowing us to rest, they keep us awake. One of the main reasons for this is our attachment to these thoughts. In Buddhism, attachment is seen as one of the root causes of suffering. When we attach ourselves to thoughts and emotions, whether they are positive or negative, they begin to control us. Instead of observing them with detachment, we identify with them, and this identification causes restlessness. Our thoughts pull us in different directions, making it impossible to experience the peace we so desperately crave, particularly at night when we should be resting. Buddhism teaches that attachment is not just limited to material possessions or relationships. It extends to our thoughts and emotions as well. In fact, attachment to thoughts can be just as suffocating as attachment to anything else in life. We cling to past experiences, regrets, and failures, replaying them over and over in our minds. We obsess over future concerns, worrying about what might go wrong or imagining worst-case scenarios. The more we cling to these thoughts, the more restless and unsettled our minds become. Buddhist teachings emphasize that peace and contentment cannot be found by constantly chasing after things, whether those things are material or mental. The path to inner peace involves releasing attachment to everything, including our thoughts. This is especially true when it comes to sleep. If we allow our minds to stay attached to worries and anxieties, we will never experience the restful sleep that we need. One of the most powerful lessons in Buddhism is the concept of letting go. Letting go is not about ignoring our problems or pretending they don't exist. It is about acknowledging them without letting them consume us. We can still recognize the thoughts and worries that arise, but we do not have to cling to them. By letting go, we can free ourselves from the constant churn of mental activity, allowing our minds to settle and, ultimately, to rest. A story from Buddhist teachings illustrates this idea beautifully. In the story, a farmer comes to the Buddha, lamenting his sleepless nights. He tells the Buddha that his crops are struggling, his son doesn't listen to him, and his wife worries too much. He says, "I cannot sleep because I have so many problems." The Buddha listens patiently and then responds, "I cannot take your problems away, but I can help you see them differently. Life will always have problems. When you solve one, another will take its place. The key is learning not to suffer over them." This simple but profound truth has the power to transform how we approach our problems. The farmer, like many of us, was caught in the illusion that peace could only be achieved if every problem in life was solved. However, the Buddha teaches that life is inherently unpredictable, and problems will always arise. There will always be concerns about health, family, work, and the world. The more we try to control everything and fix every problem, the more restless we become. This story is a reminder that peace does not come from solving every issue in life. Instead, it comes from changing our relationship with our thoughts and our attachment to them. Just because we have a problem doesn't mean it has to dominate our minds. We can acknowledge it, deal with it, and then let it go. If we approach life with the understanding that problems are part of the human experience, we can stop trying to control everything and allow our minds to rest. This practice is essential for achieving restful sleep. Take, for example, Margaret, an elderly woman who struggled with sleep for many years. Every night, as soon as she lay down in bed, her thoughts would begin racing. She would worry about everything. Did I remember to pay that bill? Is my grandson doing well in school? What if my health deteriorates? These worries would spiral into an endless loop, and the more she tried to push them away, the louder they became. Sleep, which had once come easily to her, had become a distant memory. Margaret's mind seemed unable to settle, no matter how much she wanted to rest. One evening, Margaret's friend, a retired teacher, shared an insight that would change the way she approached her sleepless nights. Your mind, her friend said, is like a cup of water that is constantly stirred by worry. The more you agitate it, the cloudier it becomes. But if you sit still and let it rest, clarity returns. This simple analogy struck a chord with Margaret, and she decided to try a new approach to her sleepless nights. Instead of struggling against her restless mind, she began to practice letting go of her worries. Each night, she would sit quietly, take a deep breath, and remind herself, "Tonight, I do not need to solve everything. The world will still be here tomorrow." Over time, Margaret found that this simple act of releasing control allowed her mind to settle. Like the still waters of a lake reflecting the moon, her thoughts became calm, and sleep came naturally. Margaret's experience is a perfect example of how letting go can help us find peace, even in the midst of our concerns. When we cling to our worries and try to solve every problem before bed, we only make it harder to rest. However, when we release those worries and allow ourselves to rest, we create the space for peace to enter. This is not about ignoring our problems, but about changing how we relate to them. By letting go of our attachment to thoughts, we free ourselves from their grip and create the conditions for restful sleep. The key to overcoming sleeplessness, then, lies in understanding the role of attachment in our restlessness. We must recognize that our thoughts are not who we are, and that we do not need to be constantly consumed by them. By releasing our attachment to these thoughts, we can allow our minds to settle, creating the space needed for deep, restorative sleep. Chapter 2. The Power of Letting Go. For many, the struggle to sleep is not just about the inability to fall asleep, but also about the constant barrage of thoughts that prevent relaxation. These thoughts are often filled with worries, anxieties, and concerns, creating a barrier to restful sleep. One person who struggled with this was Eleanor, an elderly woman who, like so many others, found herself lying in bed at night with her mind racing. Eleanor would often lie awake, tossing and turning, unable to turn off the constant flow of worries. She would think about her family, her health, her finances, and a myriad of other concerns. The more she tried to push these thoughts away, the more they seemed to multiply, making it impossible to rest. Eleanor's story is not unique. Many of us face the same battle every night. The more we try to suppress our worries, the more they seem to control us. However, Eleanor discovered a powerful practice that helped her let go of her worries and finally find peace before sleep. This practice is about releasing control and trusting the mind to rest. One of the first things Eleanor did was start writing down her worries before bed. This simple act became an important ritual for her. Every night, she would sit at her desk and write down all the things that were weighing on her mind. She would list everything that caused her anxiety or stress, from the big concerns to the small ones. Once she had written everything down, she would close her notebook and place it on the table. This physical act of writing helped her release the mental burden she had been carrying all day. By putting her worries on paper, she was able to acknowledge them without letting them consume her. This small but significant step allowed her to create space in her mind for relaxation. Along with writing down her worries, Eleanor also began to practice visualization techniques. One visualization that resonated with her was the image of floating lanterns. She would imagine each worry as a lantern floating up into the sky, slowly drifting away from her. With each lantern that ascended, she felt a sense of release and lightness. The image of the lantern symbolized the idea that, just like the worries, her thoughts could be released and carried away. This visualization technique helped Eleanor shift her focus from the things that were causing her anxiety to the calming image of peace and lightness. Each night, as she visualized her worries floating away, she felt her body relax, and her mind began to quiet down. In addition to writing down her worries and using visualization, Eleanor incorporated a mantra into her nightly routine. She began repeating the phrase, "I release control, and I trust my mind to rest." This mantra became a powerful affirmation that reminded her to let go of the need to control every thought and every outcome. The mantra helped her shift her focus from her worries to the understanding that she could not control everything, but she could trust herself and her mind to rest. Repeating this phrase each night reminded Eleanor that peace was not something she had to chase, but something she could allow to happen naturally. The combination of writing, visualization, and mantra helped Eleanor release her worries before sleep, and gradually, she found that falling asleep became easier. The more she practiced these techniques, the more she was able to quiet her mind and trust that sleep would come. Eleanor's experience teaches us that the power of letting go is not just about pushing thoughts away, but about acknowledging them and then consciously choosing to release them. By creating a ritual that involved writing down her worries, visualizing them floating away, and repeating a mantra of release, Eleanor was able to establish a sense of peace and trust in her mind. The practice of letting go is not just about trying to empty the mind of thoughts, but about releasing attachment to them. This process is essential because attachment to our thoughts creates tension and restlessness. When we cling to our worries, we feed them, and they continue to grow. But when we allow ourselves to release them, we create the space needed for rest and relaxation. Eleanor's story highlights the importance of trusting the mind to do its work, even when we feel the urge to control every thought and outcome. Letting go also involves trusting the process. Often, we believe that we need to have everything figured out before we can rest. We think that we need to have control over every situation and every detail. However, the truth is that we cannot control everything, and trying to do so only adds to our anxiety. Learning to trust the process and accept that not everything needs to be solved before bed is an important step toward achieving restful sleep. Eleanor learned this lesson as she gradually let go of her need to control her worries. By releasing the need to have all the answers, she found that her mind could relax and trust that sleep would come when it was ready. The importance of releasing control extends beyond just sleep. It is a practice that can be applied to many aspects of life. By letting go of the need to control every situation, we can experience greater peace, not only at night but also during the day. When we release our attachment to the outcome, we free ourselves from the constant pressure of trying to manage every detail. This freedom allows us to live with more ease, and it can make sleep easier to come by, as our minds are no longer burdened by the weight of constant worry. Eleanor's journey shows that letting go is a practice that requires patience and consistency. It's not something that happens overnight, but with dedication, it can become a natural part of our routine. By creating a space for ourselves to release our worries before bed, we can train our minds to rest and trust the process. Letting go of control does not mean giving up or ignoring our concerns. It means acknowledging them, releasing our attachment to them, and allowing ourselves the space to rest and find peace. Eleanor's experience reminds us that the power of letting go is not just in the act of releasing control, but in trusting our mind to do what it needs to do in order to find rest and relaxation. Chapter 3. The breath as a gateway to sleep. One of the most powerful tools for achieving restful sleep is often overlooked: the breath. The connection between the breath and the mind is profound, and by using the breath in a mindful way, we can calm the mind, slow down our racing thoughts, and create a pathway to sleep. In moments of anxiety, stress, or restlessness, we can turn to our breath to help guide us toward relaxation. This simple yet profound practice can have a transformative effect on our ability to fall asleep, especially for those who struggle with sleep due to overactive minds. The breath is an anchor that keeps us in the present moment, allowing us to release the distractions and worries that often prevent sleep. The power of mindful breathing is something that Haruto, a man in his late 60s, discovered during a particularly challenging period in his life. Haruto had been struggling with insomnia for months. He would often lie awake at night, his mind racing with thoughts of work, family, and various worries about the future. The more he tried to control these thoughts, the more they seemed to grow louder, keeping him from finding any peace. Haruto had tried various methods to help himself sleep, counting sheep, listening to calming music, even taking sleep aids, but nothing seemed to work for long. One evening, feeling desperate and exhausted, he decided to try something different. Instead of fighting against his thoughts, he turned his attention to his breath. Haruto had heard about the power of mindful breathing and meditation, but he had never really practiced it before. On that night, however, he decided to give it a try. He sat up in bed, placed his hand on his stomach, and began to focus on the sensation of his breath entering and leaving his body. With each inhale, he noticed the gentle rise of his stomach, and with each exhale, he felt his body relax a little more. At first, his mind was still noisy, filled with a stream of worries and thoughts. But as he continued to focus on his breathing, the rhythm of his breath began to slow down. Slowly but surely, Haruto felt the tension in his body begin to dissolve. His breath was becoming deeper and more intentional, and with each exhale, he felt a sense of release. His thoughts, once frantic, began to quiet down, and his mind, which had been racing only moments before, felt clearer. He felt more grounded, more present in the moment. After a few minutes of focused breathing, Haruto felt his body relax further. The sense of calm that he had been longing for started to wash over him. His breath was no longer shallow or rushed. Instead, it was slow, deep, and steady. For the first time in weeks, Haruto felt that he was on the edge of sleep. His breath had become the gateway to rest, guiding him into a peaceful slumber. By focusing on his breath, Haruto had unlocked a natural tool for calming his mind, and this simple practice became an essential part of his nightly routine. From that moment on, he began using his breath to help him wind down and prepare for sleep every night, and he found that he could sleep more deeply and restfully than before. The exercise that Haruto used that night is simple and effective for anyone looking to harness the power of the breath to promote better sleep. The practice involves deep, mindful breathing, which can be done anywhere and anytime. To begin, start by sitting or lying in a comfortable position. Place your hands on your belly or chest, whichever feels more natural. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, allowing your lungs to fill completely. As you inhale, try to notice the rise of your stomach or chest. Once your lungs are full, hold your breath for a moment before slowly exhaling through your mouth. As you exhale, imagine releasing all the tension and stress from your body, letting go of the worries of the day. You can add affirmations to this practice to enhance its calming effect. For example, as you inhale, you might silently say to yourself, "I am safe," or "I am at peace." These affirmations can help reinforce the sense of calm and security that you're cultivating with each breath. The power of these affirmations lies in their ability to focus the mind on positive, peaceful thoughts, helping to counteract the negative or anxious thoughts that may be preventing you from falling asleep. As you continue this deep, mindful breathing, you will notice that your mind begins to quiet down. Your body relaxes more deeply, and your chances of falling into a restful sleep increase. Mindful breathing, particularly slow and deep breathing, also has scientific benefits. When we practice slow, deep breaths, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's rest and relaxation response. This system counteracts the effects of the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the fight or flight response that often triggers feelings of anxiety and stress. By activating the parasympathetic nervous system through mindful breathing, we signal to the body that it is time to relax and rest. This can help lower heart rate, reduce blood pressure, and slow the mind, all of which are essential for promoting restful sleep. Studies have shown that mindful breathing can help reduce symptoms of insomnia and anxiety, leading to better quality sleep and improved overall well-being. The benefits of mindful breathing extend beyond sleep. By practicing mindful breathing regularly, individuals can manage stress and anxiety more effectively throughout the day. As we become more aware of our breath, we become more in tune with our bodies and emotions, which allows us to respond to stressors in a more measured and calm way. When we learn to slow down our breath, we learn to slow down our reactions to external pressures, creating a sense of balance and peace that can carry us through our daily lives. Incorporating mindful breathing into your nightly routine can be an incredibly effective way to create a peaceful transition from wakefulness to sleep. By focusing on the breath, we provide the mind with a tool to release the distractions of the day and find rest. Whether through the simple practice of inhaling and exhaling deeply or by adding affirmations to enhance the calming effect, the breath becomes a powerful gateway to sleep. As Haruto's experience illustrates, the breath has the power to guide us into relaxation, helping to quiet the mind and prepare the body for rest. The next time you find yourself struggling to sleep, remember the breath, your body's natural tool for peace and rest. Chapter 4. The Mindfulness Body Scan for Deep Relaxation. One of the most effective ways to ease into restful sleep is through body scan meditation, a practice that helps guide the mind away from racing thoughts and into deep relaxation. A body scan is a simple yet powerful mindfulness technique that involves bringing awareness to each part of the body, progressively relaxing each muscle and sensation along the way. By focusing on physical sensations rather than mental chatter, we can quiet the mind and create the ideal conditions for peaceful sleep. This technique is particularly helpful for those who struggle with falling asleep due to stress or overactive thoughts. Through the body scan, we shift our attention from the busy mind to the present moment, where we can connect more deeply with our body and allow it to relax fully. Robert, a man in his early 70s, had long struggled with falling asleep at night. For years, his mind would race with worries about his health, finances, and family. Each night, he found himself lying in bed, unable to quiet his thoughts, which kept him awake for hours. He had tried various methods to induce sleep, listening to calming music, reading, even taking sleep aids, but nothing seemed to work. The more he tried to sleep, the more frustrated he became, which only made the problem worse. His inability to fall asleep was starting to affect his mood and energy levels during the day, and he felt increasingly drained and anxious. One evening, a close friend recommended that Robert try body scan meditation as a way to calm his mind before sleep. Though Robert had heard of the practice, he had never given it much thought. That night, feeling desperate for a solution, he decided to give it a try. He turned off the lights, settled into a comfortable position in bed, and closed his eyes. Instead of focusing on his usual worries, Robert decided to bring his attention to his body. He began by taking a few deep breaths, allowing his body to relax with each exhale. As he settled into the rhythm of his breath, Robert began the body scan by directing his awareness to his toes. He focused on the sensation in his toes, noticing any areas of tension or discomfort. Slowly, he relaxed his toes, letting go of any tightness. From there, he moved his attention to his feet, then his ankles and up his legs, focusing on each body part in turn. With each new area, Robert allowed himself to acknowledge any sensations he felt, whether they were of warmth, coolness, tingling, or tension. As he breathed deeply and steadily, he consciously relaxed each muscle and area of the body, noticing how his body gradually felt lighter and more at ease. As Robert moved through the body scan, he began to notice a shift in his mind. The usual stream of worries and anxious thoughts began to fade into the background as he focused more and more on the sensations in his body. By the time he reached his chest and shoulders, Robert felt noticeably calmer. His body, which had been tense from stress, felt more relaxed. He could feel the weight of the day lifting as he continued the scan, relaxing his arms, hands, neck, and finally his face. When he reached the top of his head, he felt a deep sense of relaxation that spread throughout his entire body. The practice took just a few minutes, but it felt like a complete shift from the restlessness he had experienced earlier. Robert had discovered that by focusing on his body and its sensations, he could create a sense of grounding and peace that helped him relax into sleep. The body scan meditation is a simple yet effective technique that anyone can practice to promote deep relaxation and better sleep. It involves focusing attention on each part of the body in turn, noticing sensations without judgment, and intentionally relaxing each area. The following is a step-by-step guide to help you practice the body scan for deep relaxation before bed. Find a comfortable position. Begin by lying down in a comfortable position on your bed. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to help you relax and center your attention. Start with your toes. Begin by bringing your awareness to your toes. Notice any sensations you feel, such as warmth, coolness, or pressure. Without trying to change anything, simply acknowledge the sensations. Then, consciously relax your toes. Let go of any tension you may be holding. Move up through the body. Gradually move your attention up through your body, part by part. Next, bring awareness to your feet, ankles, and lower legs. As you focus on each part, notice how it feels and consciously relax it. Continue moving upward through your body, focusing on your knees, thighs, hips, abdomen, chest, and back. Relax the upper body. When you reach your shoulders, neck, and arms, take extra time to relax any areas of tension. Allow your shoulders to drop away from your ears, releasing any tightness. Focus on your hands, wrists, and forearms, noticing how they feel as you consciously relax them. Focus on your face and head. Bring your attention to your face, relaxing the muscles around your eyes, jaw, and forehead. Let go of any tension in these areas. Finally, bring your awareness to the top of your head, noticing any sensations there. As you complete the body scan, take a moment to feel the overall relaxation that has spread throughout your body. Breathe and rest. Take a few deep breaths, noticing how your body feels more relaxed and at ease. Allow yourself to simply rest in the stillness. If thoughts arise, gently acknowledge them, and then return your focus to your breath and body. Trust that your body is ready for sleep. The body scan technique works by helping us ground ourselves in the present moment, shifting our focus away from the busy mind and onto the sensations in our bodies. This mindfulness practice activates the body's relaxation response, signaling to the nervous system that it's time to rest. When we become grounded in the body, we can release the mental tension that often keeps us awake at night. By relaxing each part of the body and cultivating awareness of the present moment, we prepare ourselves for a deep, restful sleep. The connection between grounding in the body and peaceful sleep is profound. When we focus on our physical sensations, we shift our attention away from the endless stream of thoughts and worries that may be keeping us awake. By practicing body scan meditation regularly, we train our minds to release tension and cultivate a sense of peace that makes sleep come more easily. This simple practice can become a powerful tool for anyone seeking deeper relaxation and more restful nights. Robert's experience with body scan meditation illustrates the transformative power of this practice. By focusing on the body and its sensations rather than trying to control his thoughts, he was able to release the tension that had been keeping him awake and drift into a peaceful, restful sleep. As he continued to practice the body scan each night, Robert found that he could more easily relax and quiet his mind, leading to improved sleep quality and a greater sense of well-being. For anyone struggling with sleep, the body scan is a valuable technique that can help guide the mind and body toward deep relaxation and restful sleep. Chapter 5. Embracing Sleep as a Spiritual Practice. Sleep is often misunderstood in modern society. Many people view it as a mere necessity, a time to rest and recharge, but they overlook its deeper, more spiritual purpose. In reality, sleep is a sacred process, a vital part of our well-being that allows us to reconnect with ourselves, restore our energy, and honor the balance of body and mind. It is not wasted time, but a sacred ritual that nurtures both the physical and spiritual aspects of our being. To approach sleep as a spiritual practice is to understand that rest is as important as any other form of self-care or meditation. By embracing sleep in this way, we can experience deeper relaxation, improved health, and a sense of inner peace. The wisdom of monks offers valuable insights on the importance of balance in our lives, particularly when it comes to rest. Monks, who dedicate their lives to spiritual practice, understand the vital role that rest plays in maintaining mental clarity and physical vitality. They view sleep not as indulgence, but as an essential part of the spiritual journey. For them, sleep is not merely a break from their work or meditation, but a practice in itself, one that allows the body to recover and the mind to rejuvenate. They teach us that balance is key, and that we must approach sleep with the same reverence and intention as we do any other aspect of our lives. Maria, a woman in her 60s, had always struggled with sleep. She had spent many years trying to force herself to fall asleep, only to end up frustrated and exhausted. She would toss and turn, feeling anxious about her inability to rest. One evening, during a meditation retreat, Maria heard a teaching from a monk that resonated deeply with her. The monk spoke about embracing sleep as a sacred time for rest, not as a battle to be won. Do not force sleep, he said. Allow it to come naturally, and trust that your body knows when to rest. This simple piece of wisdom shifted Maria's perspective. She began to approach sleep with a sense of gratitude and trust, instead of trying to control it. When she lay down at night, she no longer focused on the need to fall asleep immediately. Instead, she focused on relaxing her body and mind, welcoming the natural process of rest. Over time, Maria found that her sleep became deeper and more restorative, and her nights were filled with peace rather than frustration. A powerful way to invite restful sleep is by setting an intention before bed. Just as we set intentions for other aspects of our lives, setting an intention for sleep can help create a peaceful, restful environment for the mind and body. This intention can be as simple as affirming that you are ready to rest, or setting a specific goal, such as, "Tonight, I will embrace rest and let go of the day's worries." When we set an intention for sleep, we are aligning ourselves with a higher purpose, and we signal to our body and mind that it is time to let go of the busyness of the day and welcome the stillness of the night. Another important aspect of embracing sleep as a spiritual practice is beginning the day mindfully. How we start our day sets the tone for the rest of it, and cultivating a sense of peace and gratitude in the morning can help ensure a restful night. When we begin the day with mindfulness, focusing on gratitude, we create a foundation of calm and balance. This sense of gratitude carries through the day and into the night, making it easier to wind down and embrace sleep when the time comes. By starting the day with a peaceful mind and heart, we naturally create the conditions for peaceful sleep, making rest a spiritual practice that nourishes both body and soul. Sleep is a natural, restorative process that shouldn't be chased or forced. Instead of struggling to fall asleep, it's important to surrender to the rhythm of rest and trust that sleep will come when the body is ready. As you prepare for bed, ask yourself, what can I let go of tonight to invite peace? Whether it's worries from the day, unresolved tasks, or emotional burdens, releasing them allows space for calmness and restfulness. By practicing surrender, we stop fighting against our natural need for sleep and instead embrace it as a necessary part of self-care. Each night, you have the opportunity to let go of the day's stresses, trusting that sleep is an act of renewal for your body and mind. Encourage yourself to let sleep come naturally, without resistance. This practice of surrender is not just about rest. It's a step toward deeper peace and overall well-being. Through mindful sleep practices, we nourish our bodies, restore our energy, and wake up refreshed, ready to face a new day. Let sleep become a sacred, peaceful time for you, promoting self-care and tranquility in your life.